Welcome to my local agency's YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe for new content that will surely improve your business. Today we will discuss how to do a consultation. Let's get started.
We're gonna have a good time today, and today's topic again is all about how to do a consultation, or you can call that a sales meeting. How to do that properly. And the reason I just said consultations because I think you all know that in our community we sell a lot of different products. Ranging from birthday marketing to VIP to online ordering. Maybe reputation as well. And the thing is, within some of those veins of like a VIP club, there's a set process that we follow. We really tend to overly simplify it. But when we're talking about different niches, as an example, sometimes you may think that the sales process changes, and the tactic may change, but the strategy is typically all the same. And what came about was, recently I've been getting a lot of meetings and opportunities that are on the table that I'm not even looking for. And the reason I say that I'm not even looking for is because a lot of these meetings that I'm getting, number one, they're outside of like the core niche that I work with. And I think a lot of you all know I work with restaurants, and I didn't work with restaurants because it was just like that was the only niche that I ever wanted to work with. I just happened to deliver results for a restaurant, and then I kept growing and then just wash and repeat. But we have clients that are HVAC, insurance clients. I've worked with a New York Times bestselling author before in the romance niche, and we have clientels that we have clientele that span multiple industries. But like some of these new industries, like the one I'm going to go over today in the spa niche, this is territory that I don't really work with, but I'm excited to, because we're going to do some cool birthday marketing stuff. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this training, because there is a process on how you sell. There's a process on how you do consultation. So I wanted to go over that. Now, selling, folks, is simply solving the problem, right? That's it. It's not how suave you talk, or the product does help, but it's solving a problem. That's all it is. And you have to look at your service as a solution. Now, the positioning on how your service will be palatable, that encourages people to buy, that's what we're going to cover today. Now, the way I like to look at this is I like to picture this broken bridge, okay? And the broken bridge is what is not current in a potential client's business. For instance, they want to get to the other side of the bridge, and the other side of the bridge is more clients. It's more massage clients, more facials. If it's a spa, it is more hair appointments, right? It is more leads. If it's you're talking about kind of a higher end niche like a pool company or someone that does fencing, as an example, that is their goal. And they typically hire or come to a marketing company or seek marketing insight or help because there's something that is broken. There's something that is not there yet. So when you really think about sales, is we can make it more complicated than it actually is, because we see all these books and all these tapes and all these new age tactics, but that's the reality. It is solving a problem and communicating that problem in a way that makes what you have desirable. Okay? So before we start, just know this as fundamental truths, okay? Because one thing I've realized, folks, is that a lot of our growth, or a lack of growth, is rooted in how we think. And a lot of how we operate moving forward today and ongoing is rooted in our past. Now, that can help you or it can hurt you. Because if you're on this call and you're saying, well, I don't have enough clients, or I don't have any clients, or things just haven't been going my way, and you take that approach, and the next actions and the next business steps that you use, you're already behind. So before we start, this is something mentally that I like to do whenever it comes to business, whenever it comes to allowing myself to think bigger, allowing myself to think in abundance, is all the stuff, the weeds, the negativity, the things that haven't happened, the things that you feel have held you back, I want you to imagine that there is a trap door, and by that trap door there is a button, and when you push that button, all the garbage in your brain that is not serving you goes down that trap door and it will not return. So now you're at a clean start, you're at a clean slate, and now your table is clear so you can move forward, right? You have to be clear in mind, and you have to always think from desires. Think from what you want to happen, right? What you desire to happen, right? And the desire is, hey, every day is becoming better and better. Every day I am learning more about my business. Every day I am attracting more clients to me, right? You have to speak what you want. So that's the first thing. And when you get to that point of just realizing that, hey, I can create my world. The power is in my hands. It's at the level of thinking, and my outer world is a reflection of what's going on the inside. Then you realize that you can make as much as you desire. Okay? Money is simply a byproduct of the value that you provide. That's all it is. And value is provided by solving problems, providing solutions, and fulfilling desires. Okay? And you're in charge of your value creation. So know that. When I finally realized that, I remember I used to work the job, and some days I would do my standard 40 hours, and then some days I would do maybe 50, right? Because during high season, I used to work at Adidas in the factory logistics company. I was salaried, so some of those extra hours I didn't get paid for because I was salaried. But I knew no matter how little or how much I worked, I was only going to get paid that amount, and that was fine, because to me that was it was security. But one thing I realized, though, when I entered the world of entrepreneurship, I could take that hat off, and the hat of, this is the amount I can make, right? Because now I had to come to terms with myself that, listen, you can make as much as you want. You can help as many clients as you want. You can prospect as many businesses as you want. And when you realize that, hey, I'm in charge of my value creation, and you really internally just accept that truth, then it's very freeing. Because if things are not going in the manner that you would want them to, and maybe your business, you're not making the money you desire, you know that I have proven products that businesses need, and the only variable of putting money in my bank account is me. I like that, right? Because I got a product that I can sell. I know who to sell it to. And today we're going to go over how to sell that product, or any product. Okay. So just want to go over that, and simply get better and more consistent at providing value, and you'll land more clients. Okay. So I always say the more competent you get, the more confident you'll become. So aim to really be a student of what you do, right? Don't take this consulting online marketing field as haphazard. Don't do it as a hobby or casual, treat it serious. And when you treat it serious, you'll get paid serious. Okay. So how to spot opportunity? Simply ask, who do you know? I was going over this with a friend who has she's starting a new company now, and it's in the area of organization and like cleaning and closets, things like that. And it's so easy for us. I stand accused myself of saying, all right, let me put this elaborate marketing campaign together, and maybe I can do some advertising, or maybe I can advertise on the radio, or do this and here, and maybe I can get this campaign. Maybe I can go to this networking event. And it's like, a lot of times business is right under your nose. I want you to just simply take out a sheet of paper, 15 minutes, and just ask the question, who do you know that in your immediate circle that owns a business? I'm sure you know someone. The people you interact with, maybe at church or at YMCA, maybe you have friends that you go out with and have lunch with, maybe a colleague or some sort. Ask if they know anyone that owns a business. So not only your immediate circle, but the people in your circle, ask them if they know anyone. And I can almost guarantee you there are going to be names that populate that you'll be able to reach out to. And lended credibility, like lended edification, someone says, hey, hey, is this Bob? And Bob, the business owner, says, yeah, this is Bob. And said, my name is Jason, and we share a mutual friend in Ted, and Ted said you own the business and recommended I give you a call. Do you have a few moments? Right? It's an easier prospect because there's familiarity. Okay. So take 15 minutes to simply make a list of everyone you know in business and just start there, and you'll be very, very surprised. So a simple prospecting framework is we're going to use an intro, we're going to listen to response, we're going to book the meeting, okay? And we're going to get deeper into all of these areas. I'm going to go over a lot of the ins and outs, nuances, and things that you want to be aware of. I'll also point out that, especially in the age of COVID now, that you can take everything that I'm about to go over and you can apply it to a Zoom meeting as well, or an online meeting as well. This isn't just face-to-face. So this works online and it also works face-to-face, okay? So a simple prospecting intro, for instance, and this is someone that maybe you're in place of a business. Like as an example, a lady that makes, that's training for our family, and she makes food for our family. She's also an esthetician and does a lot of facials and skincare related things. And she started working at a spa, and she's like, you should come. So I booked an appointment for my wife, and she went. And then the lady was like, you might want to come too. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. She's like, guys do that too. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to wash your face. I was like, okay, all right. Nothing serious, right? Because I don't know. I just have this weird stigma. Like, do guys get facials? But apparently it's like a thing. And I've been hiding under a rock. But anyhow, still not my thing though. But so I go there and I meet the owner. And then the owner and I talk, and I enjoyed my experience there, and we talked a little bit, and one of the questions I asked, I was like, well, how's business going? And she's like, well, it's going good. I wish it could be better. And I was like, yeah. And in what ways? And she's like, I just wish you had more customers coming in. I said, okay, cool. I said, what are you doing to drive in customers? She says, not a whole lot. I'm looking to do something. And I was like, really? I said, well, I actually own a marketing company, and we help small businesses like yourself that are looking for more growth. She says, really? I was like, yeah. And she said, well, I would like to meet. I said, if you're open to, having a brief conversation to go over some possibilities on growth areas, then I'll be delighted to meet. She says, absolutely. And it was just that simple. Same thing with the guy that builds homes. I know a guy that builds homes, and he's having issues with doing things so manually when people reach out in regard to wanting to build a home. And he's like, I just wish there was a way that I could, not send the same information all the time. And I said, and to maybe follow up, possibly, in an automated fashion, and maybe to email, the people as well. So, you can automate that standpoint and not always send individual emails. He said, yes. He says, could you know how to do that? I says, yeah, that's not that hard. I said, but I imagine there's some other areas that you would seek you're desiring growth in as well. And he's like, yeah. I said, well, would you be open to having a brief conversation to go over maybe some growth opportunities? He said, sure. Right? Another meeting. Like it happens that way, folks. It doesn't have to be this, what is a special script that we got to use? Just be a real person and have your antenna up. And always be willing to take on opportunity and identify opportunity. And the easiest way to identify opportunity is simply have a conversation, right? Curious, do you ever look for ways to get your customers to come back more often? That's a good one. Curious, do you ever look for ways to increase business? Right? Of course, right? Curious, do you ever look for ways to increase sales? Whenever you put curious in front of something, this is what I've learned. I don't know if there's any scientific truth to it, but I always use it and it helps. But saying the word curious or out of curiosity or just curious is more of a language softener, and it lowers the guard of people, so they're more readily and receptive to answer anything you want. So I just always use it, so it just works. Step two, they may say, yeah, sure, I'm always looking to do better. And then you just want to book a meeting, right? So then you'll say something like, well, great. Well, if you can use more business, I have some ideas on how you can increase sales. I'd be willing to share with you. When do you have 15 minutes to talk this week? That's simple. That's simple. So if you're selling VIP clubs as an example, you could say, hey, curious, you have a VIP club here at your business? They say, no, what's that? And you say, well, it's a way to get more customers to come back more often and spend more money with you. And then you say, well, if you can benefit from more growth, would you be open to briefly going over ideas and maybe how you can increase sales? You just listen and wait, right? And they'll say, sure. And then you booked a meeting. Maybe you're selling a birthday club, right? And it says, hey, curious, do you have a birthday club at your business? They say, what's that? Well, it's a way to increase sales by giving your customers a reason to celebrate their birthday with you instead of going somewhere else. Sometimes I'll say it's a great way to, it's a really good way to increase sales, right? I'll just like land on that again. And well, if you can benefit from more growth, would you be open to briefly going over ideas on how you can increase sales? That's it. You're not going over this cool software. You're not talking about, how coupon reach or contact reach works. And you got these, magical forms and they can send text messages and you'll really love it. And we do Facebook ads and it's so great. You'll just absolutely, no, you're not at that phase yet, right? This is just really trying to gauge interest right now. All right. So before I continue, is this ringing true? Is it making some good sense? Is this clear? Just give me some feedback here before we keep going. Let's see here. Yep, makes great sense. Awesome. Very helpful. Cool. All right, let's keep rolling. All right. So here's kind of the selling framework that I typically follow. I call it a pre-meeting, okay? The meeting, the actual meeting, whether it's on Zoom or face-to-face, and then you have your close, okay? When you're saying, come on, give me some money right now. It's time to get some business going, right? That's the close. So in the pre-meeting, before I go over that, I'm gonna go over a couple tips before you sell and prospect, okay? Proper appointments, an effective appointment has a defined date, agenda, and expectation. I want you to hear this, okay? Because one thing that I see happen a lot, especially for consultants that are new in this industry, is they get so excited that someone wants to talk or do business and they book a loose appointment. Like it's on the equivalent of just we can talk sometime, and then they're like, yeah, they said we can talk sometime, and you thought they said Tuesday, but you really didn't know it was Tuesday. What Tuesday is it, and at what date, and what is the expectation of it? Like, you want to be very clear and impeccable in your word and your communication. All right. So an effective appointment has a defined date, agenda, and expectation. So that's an example. One of the things that I like to do when I'm setting appointments is I'd say, when they say, yeah, I would love to talk, and I say, which days are most busiest for you, Tuesday or Thursday? And you don't have to say Tuesday or Thursday. What I want you to pay attention to is I always give 2 times, okay? And I always say, which is the busiest? I don't say, when are you free? A person that runs a business, they probably have a life, maybe a family, extracurricular activities, not alone. I mean, not to mention just the fact that they have a business. No business owner is free, okay? They're not. So which days are the most busiest? Monday or Tuesday? Monday or Friday? And they'll say, well, Monday's usually the busiest, but Fridays are good. I said, okay. So Friday works? Yep. So I always give 2 options because it's psychologically, it's a form of giving control, right? So they feel they have choice in matter, okay? Don't overthink it. Just give 2 times. Owner, okay, Tuesday's best. Thursday is my busiest day. And then you'll be like, okay, great. Well, I have Tuesday at 2 or 4. Which works best? You see what I'm doing? 2 times again. Because what you don't want to do, what I don't like to do, and I've done this in the past, people have different ways of booking appointments and selling. But some people say, well, okay, when would you like to meet? And then they'll listen to them and they'll say, maybe, I don't know, maybe Friday. Okay, Friday. What time? You can swing by maybe after lunch. Okay, great. So then you'll get off the phone and swing by Friday after lunch. You get there after lunch and the owner's not even there, right? Oh, he left early. He had to take his son to school or something like that. Like, it's happened so many times. I'm telling you from experience. So this actually works from just even booking an appointment and actually having an appointment that results in a show and not a no-show. The worst thing is getting in your car and driving somewhere and there's a no-show. It's like, good grief, I wasted gas. So I always give 2 times here, and then owner says 2. So then I say, all right, great. Well, I hope you take this the right way, but are you pretty good at keeping appointments, or would it be okay if I send you a reminder? And now with like calendar services out there, sending reminders is like is standard now. But I still ask this, and the reason I ask this is to set a precedence of the importance of the meeting, because you're basically putting their character and their values in sense. You're calling it out in a good way. You're basically saying, how good are you at keeping appointments? Like, are you a person that honors your word, or are you someone that just says one thing and then you lie? Right. That's what this is. I hope you take this the right way. But are you pretty good at keeping Are you pretty good at keeping appointments, or how good are you at keeping appointments, or would it be okay if I send you a reminder? It's subtle language patterns like that can make the difference between a show and a no-show. All right. So, give me a yes if that is clear. Give me a yes if that is clear. Give me a yes if that is clear. Yes, 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 yes. As I take a sip of water. Cool. Awesome. All right, let's keep rolling. Thank you. Let's see. So maybe a pre-meeting email here, right, is, hey, John, just following up with you as a confirmation for tomorrow's meeting. Our goal is to help you discover if we can help you and reiterate what you talked about, which was the reason that you actually had that meeting, okay? So I like to do that. So to kind of back up for a moment, what I just went over is maybe you're on the phone, or maybe you're face-to-face, and you ask, what days are most busiest, Tuesday, Thursday. Great, Tuesdays. Okay, on Tuesday, what times? I have 2 and a 4. Which times work best for you? Right, okay, 2 o'clock. Okay, so I got you down for Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And John, I hope you take this the right way, but are you pretty good at keeping appointments, or would it be okay if I send you a reminder, right? So he said you can send me a reminder. So maybe a day before or the day of your meeting, just shoot him an email, right? Or her email, whoever the owner is, whoever you're meeting with. And then just say, hey, just following up with you. Here's what we're talking about for tomorrow's meeting. Our goal is to, boom, because you already talked about what it is that led to the meeting. People are busy, folks. Don't feel offended if they don't even know why we're meeting, and even though you talked just a day ago, right? People have a lot of stuff that they carry in their minds. So, don't feel offended they don't know what you're talking about. So this helps to remind them as to the commitment they made, okay? And then developing trust. So always follow up, always honor your word. If you say you're going to be somewhere at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, don't you show up at 2:15 on Tuesday. Don't do it. Like, you already broke trust, and they don't care what excuse you have. Traffic was kind of busy. No, leave early. Leave early, so you get there on time. Okay. Do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to send a proposal tomorrow, send that proposal tomorrow. Right. If you say you're going to email them some figures and some different options, email them. Do what you say you're going to do. Like, you'll be so surprised on how many deals could have gone through, but the consultant messed up and didn't even know because they didn't honor their word. They didn't follow up like they said they would. Body language is very important as well. 90% of sales is about getting them to like and trust you, and you have to learn to develop rapport fast. Now, I've heard that stat thrown around. It's an important stat, right? I don't know if it would be that high, but the overarching theme is, it's the know, like, trust factor, and you do want to develop rapport. No one's going to buy from someone that they absolutely don't like. It's just not going to happen. So just be a real person, be a good human, okay? Pace is very important. Having an awareness of who you're communicating with and mirroring them with authenticity. Now, this also has been misconstrued in the realm of selling, because it's almost like marketers are the worst people that sell are the worst. Our industry is the worst at like using things that can be genuine and authentic as a means to help, and then just messing it up to a point of manipulation, right? You never want to use this as manipulation. This is more for relatability, okay? So a direct pace, and you know if this person that you're talking to, so I'm about to go over attributes that describe who you're talking to. The reason this is important is because when you're talking with someone in a meeting situation, if your personalities are clashed in a way that you're polar opposites, and you don't recognize and acknowledge who you're in front of, who you're talking to, it can lead to a meeting that you feel just went awry, like went in the totally wrong direction, right? Like I've met with people that, and I had to learn this too, just from having meetings that, like, you know, I remember I was in situations. I was in a meeting one time, and you know, one of the guys, I guess it was the owner, we met in his boardroom, and it was for a pretty big company, and he sat at the head of the table, and he was kind of leaned back, and he put his feet on the table, and he brought his a few other people in the room, and I was presenting, and it was just one of these situations where like the energy was off from the get-go, the attitude and the posture was totally off, and it was just like, you know, like he had this attitude of like, all right, what you got? Hurry up too, you know? And it was that type of tone, like hurry up and get through it, you know, I got stuff to do. And most people, and this is when I had been selling for a while, and I learned who I'm dealing with. And most people would just say, okay, and just kind of rush through it. And a direct, choleric, type A type personality person, they wouldn't buy from someone like that because they view that individual as soft and timid, right? I didn't even know these things. I started just reading a lot and learning this. So instead of just doing that, I said, well, John, you said that our meeting, you had a time set aside for an hour. Has that changed? Because otherwise, if your schedule has changed and you don't have the time, then we need to go ahead and reschedule. Because I want to make sure you get the facts and the information that you need properly, and I'm going to do that unrushed. And I just be quiet. He says, oh no, you're fine. I got the time. It's okay. And the whole attitude changed, right? So like you have to know who you're talking to also. And you don't want to just capitulate and just rush through your stuff because you didn't get it done. So when we talk about in meeting situations, there's a mirroring effect that is happening. And there's also a sizing up. It's like this game of posture. Like, I don't like that game, but hey, you know, the laws of selling, the laws of nature, they apply whether we like it or not, right? Thank God the sun's going to rise, and, you know, every single day, like that's the laws of nature. That's just how it is. We don't have to like it, but we have to understand and accept it and know how to maneuver through it. So a person that's very direct they're very forward. They're very involved. They speak in absolutes. They're very decisive. They make big dominant movements. It's all about results and bottom line. Okay, get to the point, right? You have to know who you're talking to. Okay? So a steady paced person, they avoid confrontation. They're more relaxed. You know, they're more easygoing. They'll hear you out. They don't really like a lot of attention. And some owners are like that. But if you come in and you're just like this, you know, type A, choleric, and you're a driver, here's what we got, here's what we're doing, like it scares them. And your message won't even be received because you're not mirroring who they are. Calculating people, they're not very animated. You know, you don't really know what they're thinking, if they're excited or not. Perfection is usually the aim. Very meticulous and calculated and non-emotional. So like when you recognize that type of person, that archetype, you know, don't let it throw you off, because, you know, in the past I would think, man, they're just not interested. Like nobody's home. I should just pack up my stuff and leave. And it's like, no, that's how they process. That's how they process. And you have to acknowledge that and understand it. An interactive person, you know these people. Like, that's like, these are the life of the party. They're energetic, they're charming, very personable, they're very emotional. Everything's amazing. Like, that's that person, right? And you got to know how to talk with these people too, as well, because your meeting could just like totally get off track. And then you're there for 30 minutes and you didn't even go over the stuff you're supposed to go over. And they're like, yeah, we can get together another time. That's so good. And it's like, what was that? Right? I didn't sell anything. So, in my experience, I don't really find a lot of, I guess, like this type of personality in the business space. Vocal tones are extremely important too. The way you say things and how you say them. Like, a direct paced person is blunt. Again, absolutes are straight to the point. They kind of talk in this my way or the highway, and they like to talk more than they listen. This is just how you can identify who you're dealing with. Steady pace, they listen. They're the last one to speak. If they're speaking and you say and you kind of like interrupt, they'll just stop speaking. And they're very relaxed in their volume. Okay. Calculating, they're very factual. They ask detailed questions. They use thought words, and they ask about stats a lot too. So just so you know how to recognize. Interactive pace, they're very dramatic. They're storytellers, right? They'll go on a long tangent. Sometimes they come back to the main point. Oftentimes they don't, right? So now you're over in Kansas somewhere, wondering how you got there. Lots of inflection, and they convey a lot of emotion in their speech. So when you look at this, it's kind of that, this personality. And there's been a lot of studies on this too, that no one person is just one personality. Like, there's been recent studies that said that we are a culmination of a lot of these personalities, but we do have some of these traits that are more dominant than others. And also, depending on the situation socially that we're in as well, some of these personalities shine brighter than others. So don't really take this as black and white, but it does give you insight. So choleric is more dominant. They're about power. Sanguine is influencing, about recognition. Melancholy, they're very cautious. They like perfection. And then phlegmatic, they're very supportive. They just want harmony and peace. They don't want no worries. They don't want everything's good, no fighting, just all love, everyone, okay? So remember, also, people are inherently selfish, so always be them-centered and focus on how you can truly help them, not yourself. And that's something that I've never understood, how you can be in a sales situation or sales environment, and for some reason they talk about themselves, and it's just like, it's not about you, Slick. Like, let's stick to the program here. So in the meeting, so really quick, was that helpful? Was that helpful? I wanted to put that piece in just so we can recognize, so you know how to recognize, different type of personalities. So it's very, that has served me very well, like, for a long time. And I was like, I can't omit that. So I wanted to give you all that. All right, cool. All right. So now that we kind of have those fundamentals there, let's talk about the in meeting. Okay. Let's talk about the in meeting. So always treat the prospect like a buyer. Assume the sell and know you have value to provide. Understand people buy all the time, and acknowledge their fears, concerns, and always agree. Never disagree in closing time. I'll go over more of that as we continue. So smiling is very important. Always smile. Direct eye contact. Can't stress this enough. It shows that you're confident. It shows that you're listening, and it shows you're engaged and interested. Sometimes when I'm in meetings, I'll have my laptop out, and I will say this. I'll say, by the way, I will look at my laptop from time to time, but just know that I'm typing, but I am listening to you. I say that out loud, just so they know, they don't think in any way that they're not being properly listened to. It makes them think they're even more attuned to the message that you're trying to convey, because I'm typing out. So I say that, okay? Firm handshake, it shows confidence, right? Don't make it too firm, because that's like overconfidence. That speaks insecurities as well. Good posture, always stand up tall, no slouching. It just, like, these are things that in an instant, judgment happens. In an instant, how you carry yourself, they judge. In an instant, So always be mindful of these things. Open stance. Like one thing I learned, I read this in a book. Again, there's no studies behind it, but I just do it. And I've seen a lot of other business folks do it. But when you are, let's say you're at lunch or maybe you're at a meeting and there's a table between you all, you want to put your hand, like if not both, if both your hands isn't comfortable, at least have like your hand on the table or like your forearm, because what I've read and what I've listened to in a lot of books is when you're in a meeting and your hand is under the table the whole time, like psychologically it comes off as if you're hiding something. And it actually facilitates more trust, at least have like a hand somewhere on the table. Again, I don't know what latest studies are on that, but that's something I've read. I just always do it. I don't have my arms crossed because that can come off as being closed as well. And the same way that you give off energy and different types of vibes, they mirror you as well. So if your arms are crossed, I can guarantee they're going to cross theirs too, right? And your goal, because they know the game, they know the dance. You're meeting with them to sell them something. So by default, their guard will be up. So you want to lower that guard. So don't have your arms crossed, okay? Even if you're still being nice and you're very joyful, like there's nothing wrong, still have your arms open. Lean forward too. It shows engagement, all right? In meeting tips, keep hands on table, do due diligence before meeting. Like, don't meet with a business and know nothing about them. Like, you get there and it's like, oh, so what kind of products do you provide? And it's like, really, dude? Like, you come into my business and want to help me, but couldn't even do a Google search on what I'm about? Like, don't be that person. All right. Ask open-ended questions. Not, do you like that? Is that good? Yes? No? No, it's like, what do you think about that? Right? Ask open-ended questions that encourage them to talk. What are your thoughts on what we talked about? Instead of, look good? There's a time and a place to ask closed questions, and we'll do that in the closing, okay? Listen more than talk. Don't interrupt. Paraphrase and clarify often. If I'm just so I'm understanding you clearly, I just want to make sure I'm understanding you. What I heard was that you don't do any marketing right now, but you're desiring more growth and you do have a budget. Is that ballpark? Right? Check for understanding, clarification. They like that. It shows that you're listening. Never berate, always uplift. Show your value by demonstrating and explaining. Be in agreement and sway to your level of thinking by empathizing. I understand. Like, I totally understand what you mean by that. Like, for instance, if someone says, can you hurry up and get through your presentation? And you say, I understand. It seems like your time is extremely valuable, as mine is too. I just want to make sure you get all the facts and information so you can make the best decision. Do we need to reschedule so I can properly go over this? Or is it okay if I just continue to go through this so we're comprehensive and I get through all that I need to get through? And you take the power back, right? So you don't have to say no to anything, like, because when you start to be in disagreement, like that, the wall goes up again, right? So there's ways that you can go about, swaying what they're saying in a sense, just by communicating properly. Be an expert, take time to discover a need and discover a pain, right? Diagnose before prescribing. Identify pain and have them play back pain. What I mean by that is, you said that you're not doing anything to drive customers in, and as a result of that, your business is suffering. That's true, right? So yeah, that's true. And you said you're not doing anything to drive in customers. It's just, yeah, just curious, how long do you think you want to continue to do that? She's like, I want to stop, right? Like, that's what I mean by playing back pain. Like, just curious, what is the impact of not achieving the thing that you said? And let them play it back, okay? So intro in your selling framework is, I call it, set the tone. You want to posture, so that's firm handshake, confident presence. You tell them, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you tell them, right? Hey, the purpose of this meeting is to go over some ideas on possible ideas that you can achieve more growth. And I'm going to ask you a few questions to get to know more about your business, okay? So in this meeting part, once you start the meeting, you want to understand their current state of business. This is where they're at today. Okay, this is a framework that you can use to sell anything. So where are they at today? Okay, and then you need to figure out their desired state and where do they want to be? What do they want to achieve? Identify those goals. So, hey, business owner, you're here on this side of the bridge, but you really want to be on the other side of the bridge where the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, there's delicious food, there's this oasis of the fountain of youth, spring water that just makes you 30 years younger, and there's an amazing pot of gold over there too, and it's just that's where they want to be. So you need to identify that, okay? And then you want to determine the gap. The gap is the broken bridge. Remember the image from earlier? That is the broken bridge. That is what has held them back from getting to their promised land. And what is the impact of not getting there, and why they have not achieved it yet? Why haven't they achieved that yet? And that's what we go over in the meeting. Now, for certain industries, this can be more elaborate. For a simple service like VIP clubs, it's easy to identify the problem. You're not building a list. You need to. You probably have slow days, and the sales process will be a lot quicker and faster. But we're still doing the same thing. We're still following the same framework, no matter if it's just a simple service that can be sold from email. It's still, if you talk, it follows the same process. And then your solution, you show them how to get there, and you enter your presentation and go into your solution. Maybe it's a demo or of some sort. Maybe you're demoing software. You're selling SaaS, software as a service, or whatever it is. You just go into your solution. And then you close. And once you close, you're basically checking for understanding, and you close the client. I've shown you everything I've shown you. This is what it's about. You told me you're here, but you desire to be here, and this has held you back. And it seems like you're an understanding that my solution can actually help you. Would you like me to help you with any of this stuff? And I'll go through some closes in a moment, but that's just a very simple way. This is a framework that you can follow to sell. So the intro is, for instance, I'm glad we can meet. My goal today is to determine if I can truly help you increase sales and get your customers to come back more often. Before we can determine that, I need to know if I can actually help you. So is it okay if I ask you a few questions to learn more about your business? And they'll say, sure. Okay, thank you. And Jane, if what we go over looks good, and if you see the benefit as a means to help your business grow so you can get more customers, out of curiosity, I just need to know, what would you like to happen next, or what happens next? Is there anyone else that we need to talk to? Or are you the sole decision maker? And they'll say, oh, I'm the decision maker. Or they'll say well, if it looks good, we'll talk about how to get started, right? That's what we call a magic move. You don't have to ask that particular question if you're not comfortable doing that yet, but this is a way to get commitment early. I usually gauge it. Sometimes I say that, sometimes I don't. But I always say the first part about we need to ask questions to determine if I can help you. So in the actual consultation, I'm just going to give you some questions here. I'm going to share this doc with you, and this kind of give you a framework as to what you can follow. And we'll have this also in the members area below the video you're watching for those that are watching the replay as well. Okay, let's see here. All right, so that doc is there, and I'm just going to kind of make this bigger. And again, this is going to just reiterate a little bit of what I just said, but repetition is good, right? So as an example, beginning chit chat, don't waste their time. They're here to talk business, so don't do chit chat more than a couple minutes, right? How's it going? Great. How's your day going? Good. Well, in researching your business, I really liked your reviews. I really like your website. I really like your online presence, right? Compliment something, right? Get them smiling. Like, again, talk about their stuff, right? And then you ask to lead. Would it be okay if I give you an overview of our session today, just so we can get started? Would it be okay if I ask you a few questions, just so I can let you know what we're going to cover today? Yeah, so I can learn more about your business, right? Then you go in the frame and say, well, the purpose of meeting today is to determine if we can help you generate more customers on a consistent basis. We only work with businesses we can actually help. And to determine that, I need to ask you some questions to learn more about your business and the results you want. And if it seems we can actually help you increase business, then I'll explain what I have to offer and how it all works. Is that okay? Is that fair? And they'll say, yeah. Well, and then at the end, you'll be in a position to make a decision if our service is for you or not. And does that sound good? And I'll say, and if it doesn't work for you, that's okay too. Either way, I want the both of us to leave on a good note and depart as friends. I'm just here to help you. How's that sound? Right? This is kind of a variation of what I mean by asking to lead. Like, this is like the framing part. This sets the tone for a proper meeting. All right? Give me a 1 if you're with me. If you're picking up what I'm laying down here. Put a 1 in the question box. A 1 in the question box if this is sounding pretty good to you. Looking good. Lots of 1s. Y'all are going to be some, like, the most professional consultants in your area. Like, this is how you sell with class, folks. This is how you sell with class. All right. Henry said tremendous value today. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So that's the first part of the chunk. And then you just say, hey, just curious. Why did you agree to meet today? Right. You already know, you may have met this person at a restaurant and you like the food, and you say, hey, just curious, do you have VIP clubs? Do you have a birthday club? They say, what's that? And you go into your script and you book the meeting. But like, you didn't really talk to them. You didn't really know exactly what they wanted outside of just a general thing. I want more business. But like, I just asked the question, just curious, why did you agree to meet today? Well, I've really been struggling. I've really wanted to, with COVID, my business has declined about 20%, and I'm just trying to find a lot of ways to keep the doors on. I've tried a lot of marketing things before, and it's just like, everything I tried didn't work, but I seen you, and you have something that looked kind of unique, and I just kind of wanted to see what you're about, because you weren't, you didn't lead with the typical sales approach that was just real strong. Like, you'll get feedback is my point. And they'll tell you something from this simple question that can give you some ammunition, if you will, to lead the conversation to your desired result, which is to sell. Okay? So you want to go over the current state of their business, where they're currently at, just as a time frame. This isn't a science, but 3 to 5 minutes. Frame your questions around the service you're selling, right? As an example, hey, most businesses we talk to fall into, one of 2 categories. They're doing good, they'd like to do better, or business is stagnant and they need more growth. Where would you say you're at? You just listen. Write it down if you have to. Well, I appreciate that. Just curious, if we're having this conversation 1 year from now, what level of growth would you like to see? Now, I'm going to put an asterisk here, because if you're selling birthday clubs or VIP clubs, kind of simple services, this is something I usually don't ask, right? But if it's like a consultant service and, they have like actual clients, like it's kind of like B2B type stuff, then I do ask that question, because a lot of times people in different niches, they do have more defined goals like this. So this is an optional question. But I always say, what current advertising are you doing? Or what I'll say is, how are you getting new customers now? Right? I'm just going to add all of these, and then they'll tell you, and then they say, well, then I'll ask, what current advertising are you doing? Right? And they'll say a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then if they do say anything, right, what's working best? Okay. This is more restaurant related, so you got to know your industry. So I'll say, well, on average, what is your average ticket per transaction? On average, how many transactions do you have per day? Right? And this kind of just goes into some examples as to, this would be an example if we were selling or trying to sell VIP clubs, for instance, then knowing how many transactions they have, and then I'll ask how many are unique, I would know in my mind this business can potentially put 1,500 people on a VIP list from their regulars, because 1,500 people a month, are buying the service. I mean, they buy from the restaurant. So that is a more specific question for the restaurant space. So don't let that throw you off. How do you currently get new customers? Again, kind of question from above. How many customers does that drive in monthly? Do you have any communication system in place to get those customers back? So you basically want to ask questions that frame the service that you're looking to sell. So you may use in your service maybe 3 of these questions, but 2 of them may not apply to you, and that's okay. I'm just giving you the framework. Okay. Are you doing anything currently to improve repeat business from existing customers? So why would I ask that question? Because I want to know, do they have any type of a follow-up system, a VIP club in place, right? You're just getting the raw data. You're getting the info. And then, restaurant related, what are your slowest times of the week? Or do you have a way to consistently stay in contact with your customers? Kind of a repeat question, because I really want to know that I don't have a VIP club, but I need one, right? So then you transition and say, well, thanks for that feedback. And based on what you shared with me thus far, I believe I can help you. If I could show you how to generate more repeat business, whatever your promise is, if I could show you how to do insert promise on a consistent basis and design a system that pays for itself because it's making you money, would that be useful? Right? Like, you just want to say something that acknowledges the info they got, and then you want to transition into what you're going to show them. So you could just leave it at, well, thanks for the feedback. Based on what you shared thus far, I believe I can help you. Is it okay if I show you our solution? And you just go into it. Don't overthink this, folks. All right. So that's that part of getting into your consultation questions. Can we do that? Can we ask questions? Can we ask questions? That's pretty simple, right? We can ask questions, right? We can all ask questions. That's not so hard. It's easy. As Dave said, easy peasy. Absolutely. So next, let's talk about this closing thing, this good old closing thing. What's this closing about? Well, you want to play it back. So you basically tell them what you've told them. Ask reaffirming questions. Continue to tie it back to the main goal. Then you ask for the sell. Okay? So I'll touch on that for a moment. When you play it back, you say, well, if the guy's name is John, you say, well, hey, John, today you conveyed to me that you're not doing anything to generate new customers. And you're not doing anything currently to get repeat business. And that's something you said you desire. And I've shown you a great solution on how to get more new customers and repeat business. And according to you, it looks pretty good. Right? That's what I mean by playing it back. You're just telling them what you told them. And then ask reaffirming questions. So how do you see a system like this helping your business? Like, maybe you showed them a VIP club. Maybe you showed them a birthday system. Hey, John, just curious, how do you see a system like this helping your business? And then they'll say, well, it looks really good. No one's doing this in my town. And I know I'm not doing anything to do any type of marketing right now. And I see this as a way to generate some more customers. Ask them, you'll get a lot of their concerns by just asking a question. Continue to tie it back. Well, what would it mean to you if you're able to get more repeat customers? What would it mean to you if we're actually able to send you a steady supply of new customers? What would that mean to you? What would that mean to your business? Just let them talk. Okay, that's it. Some closing scripts. This is kind of the magic move. Owner, so today we discovered you're not currently interacting with your customers and you don't have a way to generate business on demand. And I've shown you a way to create instant customers and also, some projected numbers of what you can expect. The general amount in which is doable for you. Once I put the proposal together, how soon would you like to move forward? Because maybe you talked about price and everything like that. So you're basically assuming the sell. This is assuming the sell. Well, the general amount in which is doable for you. You already know what this costs. But once I put the proposal together for you, how soon would you like to move forward? Like that is a way of assuming they want what you're selling. So then let them tell you, well, I mean, soon as possible, as soon as you get it over to me. That's a sell. Okay. Simple close is, well, you've seen I told you what I told you, and this is what we got. You said you like it and it can help you. How would you like to move forward? That's the close. How would you like to move forward? And let them say, I don't want to move forward. Let them say, I need time to talk about it. Let them say, I need time to think. Let them say, I need time to talk to my partner. Or let them say, I'm ready right now. Another one, well, just curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say you're at in us moving forward today? They tell you a 7. They say, okay, what would make that 7 a 10? And when you ask that question, what would make that 7 a 10? What would make that 6 a 10? And they say, well, if you did this, well, I didn't really quite understand this. Well, the thing that really and what are you getting? You're getting objections. You're getting concerns. But that's really good because those concerns are the thing that's preventing them from moving forward. So now you got those things on the table and you address them. You with me? And then now it's a 10 and you move forward. Help. Would you like us to help you with any of this stuff? Would you like us to help you do any of this? Well, you've seen how it works. You clearly see that, if you were to do all this stuff that I outlined, that it could clearly help your business. And I imagine you probably think that it's a lot of work, which is true. So would you like us to help you with any of it? And then just be quiet. Well, how does it work? Well, what does it cost? How do we? You let them tell you. So now you know what objections to go over. The value close. Well, you've seen how this works. You understand the importance of selling to your existing customers so you can increase sales. I mean, you realize it just makes sense. So do you see the value on how installing a customer reach system like this can help your bottom line? And they'll say, yeah, absolutely. Right? Other closing objections. Remember, you're selling certainty. Make it easy for them to make a decision, right? Don't complicate anything. Make it clear and concise. Failure to identify their core desire and have them realize the benefit of your service lowers your ability to sell. Okay? So you need to understand what it is they really want. You just can't sell something because you want to sell them something. Do whatever you can to earn their business and assume to sell and ask for what you want. In addition to that, address common objections in your presentation. No time, less weight, pricing, costs too much. The common things that people would say when you kind of start getting good at this and doing this for a while, you'll address these things. John, a lot of times people don't do marketing because they think it takes so much time. But the reality is you just need someone that is skilled and can do the things for you because ultimately you just want the result, right? So I know you don't have any time, but we cater to business owners like you that are time strapped and don't have any time. And we handle and do all the heavy lifting for you. You see what I'm saying? Like, you want to address these things. So now it's just like, what other objection you got other than hand me some money, write me a check, let's get started. All right. Final tips on closing. Never assume price is the determinant as to why a prospect will not buy. If they bring up price, try moving up in price to a higher version of package that you provide. I know that seems counterintuitive, but you can do that. Assuming they're willing to pay more to have more value will not steer you wrong, but always seek clarity. Like a lot of times when people say, man, that's a lot of money, don't automatically lower your pricing. That's just like a complaint. That's just coming outside and saying, good grief, it's hot out here. This sun is beaming. It's just a little complaint, whatever. But do they see the value though? So just treat what they say as little complaints until they tell you otherwise. Yeah, John, you're right. It is, some people may think it is pricey. I agree. However, it's the value and the results that we're going to deliver to you. If we're actually delivering more value and results than what you're actually paying, does it actually cost you anything? And then they think about it and say, you're right. You just move forward. Just treat it as a little complaint. It's nothing, right? So anyhow, that is what I have, folks.